we are going to talk about Neo, who is standing 10 toes down on his approach to relationships amidst attacks, quite frankly, on his character, suggesting that he is a womanizer because of his chosen lifestyle of being polyamorous. So, for anybody who didn't see this, that woman who went who went off on Cam Newton for having all of those kids, Joyce Bryant, I think is her name. She now apparently has a platform or a TV show, not a TV show, but I think it's like an internet thing. She has her own show now. It may be a TV show, hell, I don't know. And she went scorched earth on Neo, calling the guy a womanizer because of Neo's chosen life as being polyamorous. And in response to the maelstrom of criticism because of his chosen lifestyle, Neo is saying, "Hey man, I don't care what people say, and at the end of the day, you have to be honest with who you are, and if you know who you are, you have to conduct your relationship life accordingly. And I know who I am, and so I'm going to do that accordingly, and I don't care what people have to say." So this says Neo on being called womanizer over his polyamorous relationships. I don't give a F. In an appearance on the Gold Dimes podcast, Neo responded to criticism of his polyamory. It ain't a secret to anybody that I, not too long ago, got divorced. I've learned some things since the divorce, and because of the divorce, to be honest with you, it made me realize some things about myself that I kind of had an idea of, but wasn't completely locked into. He stressed that people should be honest with themselves about what they want from relationships, regardless of how others might perceive them. You just have to be honest with yourself about who you are. If you know that you are not a dude that is going to be faithful to one woman, then don't be with one woman. It's really and truly that simple. One of the podcasts suggested that some women have tried to shame him for his lifestyle choices, but he's not fazed. You can't shame me unless I care, and I don't give a F. I so desperately need the world to know how much of an F I don't give about what they think, what they say. I am 100% locked into the reality that this life is mine, and I'm going to live this stuff the way I want to live it. Ultimately, he said that he has no reason to feel no way about whatever anyone has to say about his approach to romance. So, as always, we'll go ahead and let Neil speak for himself. I think we're safe.
Fair use.
Realize that, bro, like we living in this microwave society now where everything is like boom, 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 boom. It's not like that no more. Even with relationships, you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to get into that with, I know you Mr. TMZ. I see you on TMZ all the time. You know what I'm saying? You go viral on TMZ all the time about relationships. So, you know what I'm saying? What's up with you in relationships? How you feel? Me and you done had this. You like a big bro to me, and I always come to you when I got issues, this and third, bro. You always get the best advice. But I want to ask you so you can tell the people like what you 2024 relationships, and I see you got these two nice ladies.
Hey, ladies.
Day one, you know what I'm saying?
All right, so it ain't no secret to anybody that not too long ago I got divorced. I've learned some things since the divorce and because of the divorce, to be honest with you. It made me realize some things about myself that I kind of had an idea of, but wasn't completely locked into. And now that I am, I realize how much time I wasted just on stupid shit. Like, okay, so for example, you've heard a million times that honesty is the best policy.
Right, for sure.
That is the realest in the world. It really and truly is. But the thing is, it's not even so much about being honest with the other person as it is about being honest with yourself. Like the whole concept of, okay, I want this girl. I know that she don't want me to be with nobody but her, but I want other girls too. And can I be honest with myself in regard to this and let her walk away knowing that all I'm gonna do is hurt her because I'm not gonna be what she want me to be. I'm not gonna be that. I know I'm not gonna be that, but damn, I want her. Like, can you be mature enough to let that go and understand that the one that you're looking for, the one that is willing to live the lifestyle you want to live or play it the way you want to play it, that person exists.
Yeah.
That person exists. That group of people exists. You just have to be honest with yourself about who you are. If you know that you are not a dude that is going to be faithful to one woman, then don't be with one woman.
Yeah.
It's really and truly that simple.
But guess
it
what?
Really is.
I say that, right? Because I speak a lot about that because I feel the same way. I feel like I can't be with one woman, right?
All right, so that pretty much is the gist of that.
Sure.
And then, so I do want to play what Bryant said. I do want to. While not a direct response, the release of the podcast comes shortly after Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I think I said Joyce, but her name is Cheyenne. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant went viral for being critical of Neo's polyamory.
Lord,
We got to play this woman, bro.
Yeah. We got to, so that people get the full scope of what's going on here. We got to play this one too. Here's what Cheyenne Bryant said about Neo.
No.
Well, let me ask
so
you a question,
what is Neo to you, Dr. B?
He's a womanizer. He cheated on his wife, and that's why she left him. He didn't cheat once; he cheated over and over again. He's a womanizer, and now what he's doing is, as a womanizer, he's gaslighting himself and that wife to make it seem like he wants polyamorous when you never wanted polyamorous from the beginning. You wanted to be married, but didn't have the discipline to do it, and your wife left you because she didn't tolerate that.
Maybe.
And so she pivoted from you. And now you're going and he's making these other women pay for the heartbreak that he caused to himself by saying, I want to be polyamorous. That's BS. You want to be married. You don't have the discipline. You don't have the tools to do it. So now you want to make sure you put out into the world, look at me. I want to be polyamorous because I cheated. No, you failed in your marriage. You're effed up. And that's the problem. Now you need to heal from that and not have these self-project your pain onto these women about your messed up decision making. Period.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, bro, you are killing me, dog. Oh man,
Neo has been upfront. Neo has been upfront about his decision to be polyamorous. Recently appearing on an episode of Lemon Drop with Carlene Roy to speak about his experiences. Society tells you that you're supposed to be with one person. You get married, and y'all supposed to be together forever. I'm not shitting on marriage. I'm not shitting on anyone who has figured out how to make that thing work for them. Again, everything's not for everybody. Monogamy is for you. It's not for me. So, yes, bro, I apologize, but I had to play it all. People need to get the full context, man. People need to get the full context. So, the floor is yours. She calls him a womanizer, and Neo says, I'm honest with who I am, and, it's not for everybody, but it's for me. I don't care what other people think, but men need to be honest with themselves. If you know who you are, you need to follow suit, and so on and so forth. So, floor is yours on that.
I mean, I really think that this society, the way that people have been told what they should do, that everybody should be with one person. I think that is inaccurate, and I do agree with Neo that in the sense that, well, that ain't for everybody. And what I lean on is historic ways that anytime I talk about stuff, I lean on what happened before people were forced to work. I lean on what happened before people were used as goods. And so what used to happen, where there were, societies where there were people that were one-on-one monogamous. There were situations where guys had multiple wives. And then there were situations where there was women who had multiple husbands. So I think that there's a situation where there's not just one blood type in the world. There's not just one religion in the world. I don't think there should just be one way to do a relationship in the world.
That's right.
So if Neo wants to get down with those girls back there that looked a little sketch, that's on him. Because those girls love it and he love it. and let them do that. Here's my thing with that Dr. Bryant, because honestly, I think her doctor is more of a honorary thing, a Dr. Dre kind of doctor, because the way she talks and the way she throws things out there, it's very it's very lazy, and it's not, to me, not well thought out and very dangerous. Because I know for a fact, 1,000%, that there's a horde of sisters out there that believe Dr. Bryant and take whatever she says as gospel. I don't know who put this woman on and who put this woman in front of us all, but I'm not going for anything she talks about. And it's not like Neil is some, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what this guy does. He's an industry man too, but at least he's honest with his industry type lifestyle, and he wants to live the way that he wants to live. Yes, he gave that thing a try where he had to have that one thing. Everybody tries it. And that's why everybody's out here cheating. And when I say everybody, I don't mean literally everybody, but there's a large percentage of people out here that can't keep it in the pants. There's a large percentage of people that got work husbands and work wives. So you're not physically having sex with that person, but you're definitely sharing some energy that you shouldn't be sharing, and you wouldn't be sharing if your partner was there. So there's a lot of this stuff going on in this culture that people want to act like they're not a part of. So, are you one of those people that are a monogamous person? Some people really about that, and those people need to be with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's some people that need a team. They need a team. They just can't. They love this person right here. They really do. But hey, man, they want a little strange on the side too. Well, it's like, well, you can't have both. But there are ways and societies and people that would allow that. So long as that person that is doing their thing, see, that's my thing with all of this polyamory stuff and all of these things, is because people have still been trained to be jealous. And once you start living that lifestyle, you have to be okay with sharing. So then there's guys that say, well, yeah, I want a whole bunch of women. You know what I'm saying? And, if you got a team of 3, let's say, and one of them deviates, goes rogue, and she has a team of dudes or whatever, you can't be mad at that. Who told you to be mad at that? You have introduced yourself into a world of sharing. So this whole thing of, yeah, I'm the only one that can have all this vagina out here, and she can't have the opposite. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how that works. So people need to figure this out. But this is such a undeveloped area. You know what I'm saying? It's like thousands of acres of land, and they're really trying to get it developed, and they're still trying to bring in all of their city stuff. And it's like, hey man, you can't set this up here. Why? Well, there's no Wi-Fi hub. There's no towers here, so you can't set up this whatever. Y'all have to build this infrastructure. And that infrastructure of having these types of relationships is shedding certain things that come with being monogamous. So that's like being jealous, having all these weird rules, and having all this other stuff. You can't bring all that stuff into that world where people are sharing each other. So all I'm saying is I think that the world needs to look into different forms of relationships, and get and do what fits for you. And so long as it makes sense and it's balanced and you have an understanding with the people that you're doing it with, rock out. But for this Dr. Bryant to be running around here spewing all this toxic conversation, calling him a womanizer, saying that he's hurt from his relationship. No, it sounds like he learned from his relationship. And it sounds like he doesn't want to hurt another woman.
Exactly.
By putting them in a weird position.
I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
No, she's a crazy person. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't need a microphone. They need to snatch that away from her. But what are your thoughts, man, on Neil being called a womanizer just because he found out who he really is and what he really likes? What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, she needs to take a knee. I think she needs to have a seat. Now, for real, like she needs to take several steps back. Now, if she wants to call him a womanizer because of what he may have done while he was married, whatever. That's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing. And again, like, what? How do you know what was going on in Neo's marriage? Like, is that public information or public knowledge? I'm not exactly sure, but if that information is public knowledge and he was getting something strange on the side while he was married, and that wasn't an agreed upon dynamic of their relation of their marriage going in, and so you want to categorize him as a womanizer because of that, whatever, fine. She was saying in general he is actively being a womanizer. That's what she's saying. And you cannot be a womanizer if the women know what they're getting into.
Hello.
You can't be a womanizer at that point. Like, if I sell you a car and I tell you, hey, listen, man, in about 90 days, the engine in this thing is going to blow and you're going to have to replace the entire engine. Now, I'm telling you this, if you want to buy this car anyway, that's on you. And you buy the car anyway and the engine blows, you can't accuse me for selling you a lemon or a car with a bad engine. You bought it anyway. I gave you all the information that you needed. I didn't cheat you out your money.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know that this engine is going to blow in 90 days and I don't disclose that to you and I sell you the car anyway and it blows in 90 days and now you got a car with an inoperable engine on your hands, I just cheated you out of money. If you are able to discover that I knew about this and sold you the car anyway, I'm pretty sure that that's grounds for some kind of a lawsuit. I can be held liable for that. I didn't disclose that information to you. So at that point, yeah, I cheated you out of money. But if I disclose the information to you and you knowingly bought it anyway, that's on you. Neo is saying going in, this is what I like to do. I fancy myself someone who is not monogamous. I prefer to be in a polyamorous setup with multiple women. Are you okay with that? And at that point, the women are making an informed decision. If they choose to enter into that arrangement, he's not womanizing them. They're making that decision of their own accord. So it is intellectually dishonest to call him a womanizer. And what's dangerous about this kind of rhetoric is there are other scorned, angry, bitter women who have been cheated on who are going to believe this kind of stuff. And they will just regurgitate it and perpetuate it. And they'll perpetuate that into the atmosphere. All y'all guys doing this are being womanizers. Hey, these chicks know this. They're entering into that of their own volition. That's not on him or them. Everybody is entering into this pact knowingly. No one's being taken advantage of in any kind of way. So what do you care? See, the real crux of this, the real problem with this is, and I've said this before, not all, but women don't know how to get out of their own way. So where I agree 1000% with Neo, and I've said this before, if you are the type of guy who knows that you are going to want to sleep with women who are not your main chick, you should explain that to them so that they can make an informed decision. And you should have the fortitude as a man to be prepared for them to make the decision to go the other way. Mm-hmm. But what a lot of us do is we lie because we want to be able to get them. And we tell them that we are on the same page as them when we know we're not. We know we're not. But we become dishonest. We tell them that we are. And then when we do what we do and shit hits the fan, now they're feeling betrayed and we did the wrong thing. So our fatal flaw in this is a lack of honesty, which is what Neo was alluding to. Women's fatal flaw is they cannot get out of their own way. They're horrible choosers. And the reason why I bring that up is because the only time that this becomes a topic of conversation is when we're talking about a man who is deemed desirable, who encompasses the kind of lifestyle that most women intrinsically don't want to sign up for. So it feels like a gut punch because this is the kind of guy that you would otherwise want to be with, but he is unwilling to give you what you want, which is exclusivity. But if you were more willing to consider all these other guys who you've always thought to be not good enough, not tall enough, not good looking enough, not rich enough, not whatever enough, not whatever enough, whatever it is that causes you to evaluate any particular guy and determine he's not good enough. If you are able to shed yourself away from that and consider that larger pool of guys who are more likely than not to give you what you want, which is that exclusivity, you wouldn't be dealing with this in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But what you want to do is you want to go after that specific thing that is more likely than not to not give you what you want and then complain about it. What sense does that make? See, in a perfect world, women like Cheyenne Bryant want to date guys like Neo. They want to date guys like Cam Newton. They want to date these pro athletes and these rappers and these entertainers. That's what they want. Those are the guys they want. The only caveat to that, however, is those are the guys who are more likely than not to not give you the exclusivity that you seek, to not give you the security that you want, to not give you the monogamy that you claim is the best way for you to be. And despite the fact that you understand that, you still want to try to fit a square peg in a round hole. You want to get with these guys who are CEOs and rappers, guys who are at the top of the economic food chain. And then when your own self-fulfilling prophecy is fulfilled, you want to complain about it as if you didn't know that going in. This is not the world according to Cheyenne Bryant. This is not the world according to JV Wins. This is not the world according to Dogon SS. I would love to be able to date the most beautiful, baddest chicks in the world and be broke living in my parents' house. But is that the world that we actually live in? No. I don't get access to those women if I'm broke living in my parents' house. So am I supposed to get mad and upset at those women for rejecting me because I'm broke and live in my parents' house? That's unreasonable. But that's what we got going on. And that's where that kind of emotion comes from. You're calling him a womanizer because you perceive him to be ideal in terms of the kind of guy that you would want to be with. And he is unlikely to give you what you truly want. Hey, there's about 70, 80% of these guys over here who are monogamous. Go talk to them. Go on a date with that guy. You got a whole bunch of dudes at the mall the other day when you was at the mall doing your thing who will give you that exclusivity, who don't want to be polyamorous, who will get with you and they're not going to be talking to other women. Go talk to those guys. You know them when you see them. They're the same guys y'all call lame, boring, not ambitious. All of these buzzwords and adjectives that you use to describe what you envision the perfect world to be, which is I want to get with these special exclusive guys who have all the options in the world. And despite them having all the options in the world, I want to mandate that they only choose me. It's not realistic. That's not the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. You have to operate in the world as it is actually constructed and get out of pie in the sky. This is not rainbows and unicorns. And until we all realize that, we'll continue to be bitching about the same old stuff. You'll have women like her perpetuating the same dangerous rhetoric, calling guys womanizers, even if they're guys who are being honest to you. And you'll have a lot of us guys who, because we're too afraid to deal with the reality that this woman might pick somebody else and not us because we ain't on the same page as them, we'll just keep lying to them. And so as long as those two things happening, as long as those two things continue to persist, we'll continue to be lost. But for Bryant, she needs to sit down and take a knee. She knows what the real is, even if she doesn't say it.
1,000, bro. And what do you call a woman that has a man? You know what I'm saying? And she has shadow dudes in her phone. You know, dudes that hit a while ago that are still lurking one text or phone call away. What do you call those women? And they actually take these people up on their offer, you know, delete the message or the phone call later. What do you call them? You call them manizers? She needs to give me a break. Everybody's out here doing it, male and female. You know what I'm saying? Women are just much better. They're just much better at hiding it. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, you're not gonna catch them red-handed.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I got this thing, I call it pink-handed. Now, if I catch you with pink hands, you know, those are red hands that's been slightly washed. So I call them pink hands. So I'm not gonna catch you red-handed, but there's too much evidence around here. There's a little too much smoke here. So I'm going to assume there's a fire. Yeah. And because when there's people that's not messing with matches, you don't smell anything. Yep, this is clean right here. Then sometimes you walk into the house, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, what's going on in here? It smelled like a little flame was going on in here. You know, yeah, they were doing something. Something they weren't supposed to do. Something that they can't do in your face, which to me is enough. And there's a lot of that going on out here. And so what do we call these people? Why is everybody doing this? When I say everybody, I mean a large majority. Why are there so many people out here that can't keep it in their pants? Both male and female. Everybody want to, you know, these people that talk like her always want to make it seem like it's the men that's doing it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I knew some low down scoundrel dudes. You know what I'm saying? And they were, they were the guys that women wanted. And I'm sitting here I'm trying to peep game. Like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? You got them coming in, you got them coming out. You know what I'm saying? There's a revolving door, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Put me on. What's going on here? And they hated, they hated, they hated not being able to have something, solid. But they also were afraid to have something solid because they've been messing with women who were engaged, women that were actually married. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of scenarios. So, these women are giving it up. So it's not just a man thing. It's going on across the board. And again, I think what's going on here is that there's a situation where people are being forced to live socially in a way that's not natural. And I think that our natural communal way of living extended beyond, breaking bread. And I think that there were also ways that people were living where they shared partners. And again, once you get into this whole individualistic mindset that's very much perpetuated in the West, this is mine's, me, I. The woman, she wants that bank account because she doesn't want your penis, bro. She can get anyone at any time. She wants that bank account for herself. You know what I'm saying? She wants this lifestyle for herself. She don't want no girl coming in here ruining that. You know what I'm saying? The guys out here, he's like, hey, man, that's my cat. You know what I'm saying? I worked hard for that. And he don't want nobody else to have that. And it's this me, I, westernized society. But again, I told you, like before, there were societies where men shared the women and women shared the men. And there was also monogamous ones. So again, I know people that's been married for decades. You would like to think that they was solid the whole time, but even if they weren't, they still have a monogamous mindset where, in a sense where, hey, we rocking with each other through thick and thin, through death do us part, and they still together. And then there's the ones that really are polyamorous by nature, polyamorous at heart, or polyamorous through social conditioning. Either way, they can't stay with one person. And then they're forcing this, this square peg in a round hole. So I really think people should be honest with themselves, like Neo said. Find out where you're at. Hey, man, if I got this one person that I really think is solid, I still can't help but to text or talk to other people. Okay, well, you got a problem there. Because if your partner finds out that you're doing this, you're going to have an issue. So you either be honest with your partner that you do this, your partner has to be okay with that. And in turn, your partner said, well, if you're doing that, I can do this. You got to be okay with that. Like there's a whole thing. But again, with this me, I, everybody's selfish. So yeah, man, this is with this whole situation, this needs to really, you have to be very mature to live nowadays in the dating world. And part of that maturity is, again, being honest with yourself, being honest with your partner, and then being being honest and okay with whatever you get back on the back end, you know. But it's easy to go, nope, we're both exclusive. And I'm telling you right now, looking at these divorce rates, looking at everybody in situationships right now, there's a lot of people out here lying when they say that. So, hey, man, people got to tighten up. And honestly, again, Neo's no trailblazer. I'm not calling him some, he's an industry man. He's into some weird stuff, I'm sure. All right. But the conversation point of, hey, man, I was honest with myself. Yeah, that's what I'm asking from everybody that's watching and listening. And if y'all are, solid, man. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe while you're at it.
What Neo said applies to both men and women. When he said, whatever it is that you are, whoever you are, there are people who are aligned with you.
Yes.
And you have to put in the work and have the patience and fortitude to seek it. But don't be a liar and don't be dishonest. That applies to both men and women. Men, what he said is correct. All right. A lot of us, and I know guys who do this, and I've done this at times. I want this girl, but I also know that at some point there's going to be an expiration date, and I'll probably want to talk to somebody else. And so I've been dishonest going in. I did that a lot throughout my youth, and I recognize that, and I recognize my dishonesty, and I recognize how not beneficial it was to either person, myself or her, to be dishonest in that regard. And guys, we need to just stop doing all that lying. For those of us who be lying like that. But for these ladies out here who fancy themselves one man women, who fancy themselves, they fancy themselves monogamous, serial monogamous. They only want to be with one guy. They still think about the white picket fence in the house with the 2.5 kids and the dog. They want to get married, and they want to have that security. They want to know that their man isn't thinking about any other women, entertaining any other women, sleeping with any other women. They don't even want to have the thought in their mind. They want to be able to rest assured that what they got is on a solid foundation that is devoid of any temptation. Just as Neil said, you can seek that as long as you look for it and find it and are honest. It's the same with them. They can get that. They just refuse to get it in the package that they don't want it in. And that's their biggest problem. Agreed. That's their biggest problem. They refuse to get that in the package they don't want it in. The same women who you described talking about those manizers, the women who have multiple dudes in their DMs and texting dudes on their phone and stuff, those chicks, all right? There's probably double the amount of guys who they left on red, or who they didn't respond to, or who they may have went on one date with and decided once is enough, I'm not going out with him again.
Yep.
Or they decided, maybe he's just not this enough. He's not that enough. Whatever it is, it could be superficial, it could be money, whatever, it could be height, whatever it is that made you determine that he wasn't fill in the blank enough for you. There's a decent chance that may have been the guy to give you what you want. But there's a pattern of behavior with the way that you go about doing this thing that leads you to a likely destination. And what I see a lot from a lot of women, not all, but from a lot of women, is a lack of accountability in that regard. They refuse to accept this. They want to try and get it in the package in which they are looking for it. And when they don't, they complain about all men. And that doesn't make any sense to me. It isn't all men doing this. It's the ones you're giving your time to.
Correct.
But they just seem to not understand that. And they use these 4-letter words like lame, boring, broke, and not lacking in ambition. All of these different characterizations that they use to justify why they are doing the same self-destructive stuff they've been doing their entire lives.
And the same thing that they blame men for doing.
Exactly. And it's like, is he really not ambitious, or is he just not the kind of ambition you're looking for? Is he really not tall enough, or is he just not NBA tall?
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff. The last thing that I'll say, and I've mentioned this on this channel before real quick, I think about the story that I had with my friend's sister. Me and my sister, and she had a friend that she was talking to on the phone. And my sister called me out to join in on the conversation because her friend was having relationship woes, right? And why can't I find this or that, or what's the problem? I keep running into this, blah 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 blah. And so I asked her, okay, well, what kind of guy are you looking for? Like, what are the issues? And she talks about how she wants a guy with ambition, 4-letter word. And she says, I just want a guy who's ambitious. I stopped talking to this one guy because he just wasn't ambitious for me. He wasn't ambitious enough. I wanted a guy who's more ambitious. And I asked her a question. I said, okay, you want a guy who's ambitious. So what if you were talking to a guy who was like an area manager for Walmart, right? So he worked his way up. He's climbing the Walmart ladder, and he's an area manager. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but area managers for a large organization like Walmart are pushing 6 figures because they're operating multiple stores in an area. It's a district manager. So they may run, I don't know how big the area is. It depends on the location, but they could be running 3 or 4 different Walmarts, right? They're the area manager. So this guy could be pushing 6 figures, if not a little more. I said, would you date this guy? Her response was, no, I wouldn't. She said she wouldn't date the area manager at Walmart. I said, well, why not? Well, I mean, he's Walmart. He's Walmart. So I said, oh, okay. So it's not that it's not that he's not ambitious. It's just the type of ambition. So you're getting so centralized and specific with your search that now even the type of ambition is a factor, let alone whether he's ambitious to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot get out of their own way in that regard. And until they accept that reality, they'll continue to be indulging in their own insanity.
Crazy, bro. And honestly, bro, this situation, because we've had previous conversation about Neo himself and just about this whole situation in general when it comes to dating and things. And I've had this stance, from being in the dating market, in the pool, experiencing things, having a lot of friends, and hearing their situations, what they got going on. And that's why I boiled it down to this conclusion that where Neo's coming from is what people need to be doing. And, be honest with yourself. And, being honest with yourself isn't, okay, well, I'm going to stay solid and just be with one person now. That's not being honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself is looking at your history, looking at how you feel about these things. And historically, if you weren't able to just talk to one person, you need to be honest with yourself and then let your future partner, if you're still out there in the pool, know that. Now, if you still already got somebody, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just stay solid or something. But my whole thing is that I do think that people do need to look outside of monogamy, because I don't think there's just one form of having a relationship with people. I think that there's so many people in the world, so many different palettes, so many different things are happening, that there's going to, by nature, be different ways that people get together and have relationships. So this trying to force everybody into this one bucket, and then therefore you have a psychological issue because you aren't in that bucket, I think is dangerous rhetoric from that woman, that Bryant woman. Okay, that wellness coach. She is not a doctor. All right.
Yeah,
yeah, man. So I do think there's different ways to skin this cat. But hey, guys, let us know down in the comment section, please, will you? All right. Do you agree with Dr. Bryant, first of all? Do you believe that Neo is a womanizer and that, well, him going around and having these polyamorous relationships is just because he's hurt and projecting that hurt on other women? What are your thoughts?
She
tripping. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. She tripping, bro. She tripping. And I'll say it again. If you're a woman and you know that you want monogamy, and it's important to you, it's available. Trust me. It's available. You just need to take inventory on your approach to mate selection. And I think if you know that you want that monogamy and you take the appropriate level of inventory, you might be able to save yourself from future headaches from people who aren't going to give you what you want. It's out there though. It's out there.
And it might be a Prius. It ain't gonna be no G-Wagon. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna get you A to B and low maintenance. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't flashy. You can't pull that up the valet road. You know what I'm saying? You can't have that on the Housewives show. All right. So it ain't no G-Wagon. But at the same time, it's safe, it's secure, and it's gonna be around for a very long time. So how about you think about that?
Shouts out to Neo, man. Be honest, bro. You doing the right thing, bro.
Sheesh.
Shouts out to Neo, man.